Pablo, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? How's things? Tor, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? Evening. Mike, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? Pure, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? Evening. Mike, good to see you. How you doing, brother? Good day. Funky brother, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? T, hello Miles. How you doing? I'm doing great. T, how you doing? How you been? Tor, market up, market down. Pretty much for the time being. Good evening, Miles and CMF. Orvan, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? How are you, bro? I'm doing great. Funky brother, how you doing? Good evening, Miles and CMF. Free and Feather, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? Good evening, CMF. Let's go, funky brother. Autistic, hi Miles. How's things? It's good. How's things with you, Autistic? Hi, brother. Camel, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? Hi, Miles and CMF. Dennis, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? Good evening, everyone. Denise, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? Good, thanks, Miles. I had the 15th, the deadline for the SEC decision. Yeah, so tomorrow. So yesterday we discussed how the 15th is obviously going to be a big timeline because it's when we get an update on SEC versus Ripple, as in what essentially Gary Gensler is going to be filing in against Ripple. Morning, Miles of CMF. Shelly, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? Miles, in past, influencer Alex Kos says XRP stablecoin, and today he's saying he's buying before said is a very bad coin. Yeah, as I said, don't listen to people, and everybody's entitled to an opinion, but opinions are not correct, not facts or facts. So that particular influencer was saying bad things about XRP. Now he's saying good things. This is why I said don't listen to opinions, always listen to the facts. And I've always said XRP is an excellent project, and I'll still always stand by that. Glad to see you, Miles. Good to see you, Harris. How you doing? Miles, today I buy 1,000 XDC. Is this enough? 1,000 XDC is an incredible amount. Now, let's do a gist of what we're going to be going through on tonight's live. So, on tonight's episode of the CMF Live, episode 239, we're going to be talking about the data reports that I talked about yesterday. That just came out today. So the US non-farm payrolls and the employment rates and so on is what we're going to go through on tonight's live, and what the impact is going to be on the crypto space moving forward. Then we're going to be talking about essentially Donald Trump, because Donald Trump today was also his sentencing. So we're going to go through that on tonight's live, and we're going to go through the positives. Then we're going to be going essentially and talking about New Hampshire. More places around America are actually implementing some sort of a Bitcoin reserve or crypto regulations on that matter. So we're going to talk about New Hampshire, North Dakota, and then we're going to be talking about Germany essentially as well. Now, Germany originally sold off all their Bitcoin essentially reserves, mainly because it's within the law if they wanted to sell it, but it was one of the big worst decisions that Germany has ever made. Germany's made a lot of bad decisions financially as an economy, but that was also one of the biggest, worst decisions they've ever made. But it looks like now Germany wants to re-enter the Bitcoin space, re-enter the blockchain space, and so on, and they don't want to get left behind. Then we're going to be talking about Joe Biden on tonight's live. Sleepy Joe, once again, is on the news, and it's crypto related. So we're going to go through that on tonight's live as well. Then we're going to be also talking about China, essentially. China's plan to build a blockchain-based data center, which is incredible to see China coming back inside the blockchain space scene. And then we're also going to be talking about the US enforcement chief behind CFTC cases exits before Trump arrives. The man that's in charge of all of the crypto cases in the CFTC has decided to leave the CFTC before Trump comes into power. This man was in charge of bringing up enforcement actions against crypto companies through the CFTC, and he resigned. The only reason he's resigning and exiting is because Trump is coming into power, and he doesn't want to be the anti-crypto person inside the CFTC. And mostly because the CFTC chairman resigning as well, January 20th. Although he was a bit pro-crypto, to be fairly honest, but this man wasn't. The Senate Banking Committee, we're also going to be talking about tonight's live as well. A massive announcement was made by the Senate today. regarding Banking Committee announcing the first ever cryptocurrency subcommittee reports regulations for banks and so on in America. Incredible. Then we're also going to be talking about tonight's live regarding the matters of Bitcoin's outlook and how it remains quite bullish despite the macro setbacks, a perspective coming in from Grayscale. We're also going to be talking about tonight's live regarding the matters of the FDIC. The FDIC data reveals essentially US banks are currently facing $329 billion in unrealized losses. So a report essentially of how the banking system is doing inside the US. And we're also going to be going through news topics related to Satoshi. One of the founding members, essentially, you could say, of Bitcoin, one of the early adapters of Bitcoin, day two adapter of Bitcoin, he's came out with some speech of what happened in the past and what is going to be happening moving forward. And then we're also going to be talking about JP Morgan. JP Morgan decided to come out and do a speech about the MiCA regulations regarding cryptocurrencies and how it's going to boost the EU, and the EU is going to dominate inside the blockchain space, a perspective coming in from essentially JP Morgan. And we're also going to be talking about Ripple versus the SEC case, but that's towards the end of the live. Now, before we go through any of these news topics, I just want to say to everyone watching right now, welcome to the CMF Live if you're watching this for the first time ever. The CMF stands for Crypto Mouse Family, and my name is Miles. I'm the host of this live Monday to Friday, 11:25 p.m. UK time onwards. And in this live, I talk about the most recent news that's happening around the world in terms of cryptocurrencies, CBDCs, AI, politics, regulations, vital information for you to know about regarding the world completely transforming into a digital space. And the disclaimer of this live, as always, is not financial advice, not political advice, and whatever I say is only for entertainment purposes. So, if you watch this live for the first time ever, welcome to the CMF Live. If you're regular, let's go CMF. And also, I would really like if everybody can just take 2 seconds to like this live, retweet this live, and put a comment outside the live on essentially the post. If you do get a chance, just take 2 seconds right now. Go and like the live. If you watch this on X, go and like the live. Go and retweet the live. Put a comment, essentially, and like other people's comments outside the live. The people that have left comments, like, I'm guessing JP's left some comments, Shelly's left a comment, and other members of the CMF have left comments as well. If you do get a chance, just 2 seconds. Go like, retweet, and share, and put a comment if you want. And also go on YouTube and like, if you're watching us on YouTube, like the video as well, put a comment outside the video as well. This is just to boost essentially the CMF so we can reach a larger audience and help out a lot more people and essentially grow the CMF. So before we actually go through the first news as well, let's go inside the comment section. And I just want to say thank you so much to everybody that's already did that. Thank you so much to everyone that's already retweeted, liked, commented, and shared. Thank you so much to everyone that's already did that. I'm getting notifications as well back to back now. Everyone's doing it. So thanks so much to everyone that's doing that right now, everyone who has did it already. Now, let's go to the comment section first before we go for the first news. Let's see what's going on there. And then we'll go straight to the first news and then Q&A news. So we were at here. Markets are like seesaws. Up and down, guys. Just hold on tight and hold on to Miles, and then you will not fall off. Let's go. Facts. Let's go, funky brother. Evening, Miles. Mickey, good to see you. How you doing? Evening. How you been? Good evening, Miles and CMF. But XRP, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? Alex Costa, always promotion, pump and dump, anti-XRP, now two-faced. Yep. Good evening, Miles and CMF. How you doing, Miles? I'm doing great, Caddy. Good to see you. How you doing? Evening, Miles and CMF. Joe, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? Entire markets worldwide is dumping, but Sui is pumping. Sometimes the crypto space moves a bit weird. Miles, can Gary make ruling against XRP? No, the judge can. The judge is the only one that can make a ruling against any crypto asset or any case in that matter. You think that BTC reserves should be red herring and XRP is chosen one all along? XRP is definitely the chosen one all along, in my opinion. According to a PDF document, everything that I've read and studied is definitely the one without a doubt. Now, regarding BTC being a reserve, could it be a red herring and XRP is chosen one? Regarding BTC, XRP replaces BTC. It's always been a topic. Happy Pisces, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? It's always been that, that speculation of that possibly happening, or they can work alongside each other as well. It would be better that every country will put 5% of their GDP in digital assets instead of increasing their army supplies. I agree. 100% I agree. Is it truth that BlackRock want to invest in XRP ETFs? Is there any sort of truth to the idea that BlackRock is going to be investing into XRP? Yes or no? The news that's been going around for a while, BlackRock is buying into XRP or BlackRock is going to buy XRP is a rumor. But it doesn't mean that it can't become, truth somewhere down the road. Who knows when that down the road is going to be coming along, but we can't say for certain that BlackRock will never buy XRP. We can't say that. What we can say is for now, it's just speculation and rumors. But is there a possibility of that happening somewhere down the road? Yes, there definitely is. Now, breaking news is what we can talk about first. The first news we're going to cover on tonight's live is regarding the data reports. The data reports that I said yesterday that are coming out today. So here it is, the data reports that's affecting the market space slightly. US non-farms payrolls surged to 256,000. What's next for Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency markets, according to this latest report that's came out? So the latest non-farm payrolls data from the US shows that a surge inside the US employment rate for December. Apparently there was a massive surge of employment in December. Meanwhile, the unemployment rates also came in lower than expected. These macroeconomic figures could significantly impact essentially the Bitcoin and the broader cryptocurrency market space. The labor reports, the labor department data shows that the total non-farm payroll employments increased by 256,000 in December, beating the estimate of 160,000 that was already made. This again represents a strong US essentially job data after an increase to 227,000 in November. The unemployment rate dropped to 4.1%, essentially against the expected 4.2%, and recorded in November. Following essentially the release of this non-farm payrolls, report traders are now essentially betting against the first half of the rate cuts from the Federal Reserve. These traders predict that the Fed will only cut rates once this year, and it is unlikely that even happen earlier than June, for example. And they also project that the only interest rate cut this year will occur in October. This development presents a bearish outlook for BTC's price, and considering how this macroeconomic data could play out in the minds of investors, the Fed made essentially 3 interest rate cuts last year, which makes a potential 1 rate cut this year more disappointing. Following the release of the non-farm payrolls reports that came out today, the US 10-year and essentially 30-year Treasury yields rose to their highest levels since November 2023, and this macro data also presents a bearish outlook for Bitcoin and the broader crypto market space. So, essentially the reports that came out today, the data reports that came out today for non-payrolls was actually positive, which means the dollar gets strengthened and treasury bonds get strengthened, and the markets get affected. Now, meanwhile, as expected, the US dollar has strengthened. In these strong US data reports that have came out, these macro factors have already added to significant volatility that is being experienced inside the crypto market space today. There already has been a lot of volatility since the day began due to the 19,000 Bitcoins options, which has also expired just before the release of these macro data factors. And all the eyes will be on product price index PPI and consumer price index CPI inflation figures, which will be coming out next week. Next week, we're going to be getting another essentially batch of data reports, the CPI data reports and the PPI data reports that are also going to impact on the crypto market space. Now, those inflation figures will likely further essentially dampen the expectations of the Fed rate cuts essentially in the first half of the year. Now, Bitcoin's price also flash crashed to as low as 92,000 following the release of the non-farm payrolls data, but is now back above 93,000. However, the flagship crypto is still at risk of a significant price correction, especially with the likelihood of the US government selling its $6.5 billion Silk Road, essentially BTC stash, before Donald Trump takes office, which is for now speculation, but they do have a green light from the DOJ. And also, what's the basis of this, regardless data reports that just came out so far today? It's mixed. The data reports that have came out today were positive, no doubt about it, for the traditional market space, which means the reason why the dollar is strengthened now. The US dollar is strengthened, treasury bonds are strengthened, and so on. While the other side, the stock market, not so much strengthened, and neither is crypto. We didn't move much. It was a bit of a mixed situation. But yeah, the data didn't come out in favor of crypto. It actually came out in favor of fiat. Once again, you could possibly say that Jerome Powell is stretching the numbers, maybe just a little. But now moving away essentially from the data to the data reports that came out today to Trump. As everybody has heard today or hasn't heard, Trump sentencing happened today. And the sentencing went well in a way. One is that Trump is not going to be going to prison, which is good. That's excellent news. The other thing is that Trump has been sentenced for essentially, well, here it is. Dems early silent on Trump essentially sentencing as they prepare for a Republican trifecta in Washington. The Democrats right now are very quiet, now that Trump has essentially, you could say, won this case. So Democrat lawmakers were noticeably silent following the sentencing of President-elect Donald Trump, despite previously commenting on the case against him, as Washington prepares for a Republican trifecta in Congress. Trump was sentenced essentially on Friday after being found guilty on 34 charges related to falsifying business records in May. The incoming president was sentenced to unconditional discharge, which means that he will not receive any jail time, fine, or probation time. The sentence also preserves Trump's ability to appeal the conviction. After Trump was found guilty in criminal courts in May, Democratic members of Congress put out a flurry of reactions on social media, but appeared essentially mum after the sentencing and silent after the sentencing on Friday. Today, essentially, which comes just days before he will be sworn into office on January 20th. Now, the House Minority Leader Hakeem, essentially in New York in May, wrote on X, formerly known as Twitter, "The jury has spoken and carefully rendered a decision. Responsible leadership requires the verdict to be respected," while Rep. essentially Alexandra Courts of New York said that nobody is above the law. I genuinely hate it when Democrats keep on coming out, even till this day, and saying nobody's above the law. Because it's a load of BS. First of all, you have a president, Sleepy Joe, who pardoned his son. Apparently, he is above the law. Second of all, the Epstein list. Everybody on that Epstein list apparently is above the law. Third of all, the Diddy list. Apparently, everybody that attended Diddy's private parties is above the law. Fourth, apparently every director or actor or actress in Hollywood is above the law. Fifth, companies like Pfizer or banks, for example, like JP Morgan, who back-to-back commit essentially crimes on money laundering, are apparently above the law. Six, I mean, I could go on until 99 reasons of all the people that are above the law, that are all powerful bankers, executives, politicians, actors, actresses, directors. These are all above the law. But when it comes to us, the retail section, none of us are above the law. But when it comes to them, everybody's above the law. So I hate it when Democrats keep on coming out and saying, well, Trump got his sentencing, nobody's above the law. Everybody seems like they're essentially above the law from that group. But, I mean, first of all, Joe Biden pardoning his son should be more than enough to claim everybody's above the law. But they're still saying it, Democrats. They are very much hypocrites, you could say. But however, Democrats also appeared less reactive to Friday's sentencing, which left Trump free of any penalties, which is good, to be fairly honest. One Democratic, essentially congresswoman, put out a statement following the unconditional discharge sentence, claiming that our system of justice is not just. There is two-tiered, essentially, system of justice in this country, and Donald Trump lives on the tier where he gets to walk into a White House without spending a single day in jail or being put on probation after being convicted of 34 felonies. One, the 34 felonies were all a setup, pretty much. Two, they're saying that Trump gets to walk into the White House and there's no prison sentencing, no fines. How can this man just walk into the White House and not be arrested? Well, why is Biden's son allowed to enter the White House after they found him with some sort of materials, you could say, minerals, you could say, pretty much? Why is Biden's son essentially allowed to do all those maneuvers and still be entered into the White House? Honestly, it's like they just see Trump as the enemy, but whatever they do, they're angels. Whatever the Democrats do, if the Democrats do anything wrong, if they do anything wrong, if they're on the Epstein list or Diddy list or commit some sort of illicit activities, that's perfectly fine because they're Democrats. But when Donald Trump does the smallest thing, it's all over the news. He's an evil man. He's Satan, is what they essentially call him. But they do the exact same thing or a million times worse, and they're angels. I have no respect for the process being used. On the flip side, Republicans were very vocal following the sentencing. They said, I have no respect for the process that's being used in New York. I find the judge and prosecutors' motives to be dripping with politics. Senator Lindsey, essentially Graham, said in a statement, this is a sad day for America. It really is, 100%. Well, thank God, at least they didn't give essentially Donald Trump a prison sentence. That we got lucky on. But why essentially convict someone of 34 felonies in the first place if you're going to give him no sentencing? Why not just drop the case in the first place? And we all know for a fact, we all know for a fact, the only reason there's a case against Donald Trump is because Sleepy Joe was behind it or Biden's administration was behind it. That's the only reason there was a case against Trump. If Trump didn't want to become president, there'll be no case against him. But because he wanted to become president again, they created a case against him. Some things are just very clear to intelligent people, but Democrats will never see through that. Now, moving on essentially from this Trump news that came out, which is relatively good news. There's no sentencing, which means that we can move forward with a pro-crypto president inside of America, a trifecta with Republicans, which means we're still heading towards a Trump presidency and no prison sentence, new SEC chairman, new CFTC chairman, rules and regulations, banks institutions, and so on, more ETFs. All the positiveness inside the crypto space is still going to continue forward, and Trump is not going to prison, which is amazing news. But, the Democrats are very two-faced. Now, moving on from that news to another place in America that's decided essentially to create some sort of a Bitcoin reserve. One by one, states in America are essentially coming out and saying they want to create either regulations for cryptocurrencies or create some sort of a crypto portfolio or even create some sort of a Bitcoin reserve. And we have another one that decided to do that in America, another state. But before we go through that, let's go inside the comment section first, and then we go straight into this news. So as I said previously, this is a live, which means if you do have any questions, put it down inside the comment section. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you may have. So let's go inside the comment section first, and then we'll go straight into this news. Evening, Miles and CMF. Money, good to see you. So how you doing? How you been? Evening. Miles, how much dollar is large and small portfolio? 1 to 5, you're considered small. Even 1 to 10. 1 to 5 small. Medium, you're talking about 5 to 50. 50 to plus whatever 100, you're pretty much good to go. Anything you want to go for. Hi Miles and CMF. George, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? Hi Miles and CMF. Stormy, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? Sorry, I'm late. More in XDC, more in XRP than anything else in your portfolio. I'll be aiming for 5 to 10 times of XRP of what you have in XDC. If that helps, yeah, definitely, absolutely, Shelly. Good point. Hi, Miles, the CMF. George, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? Stormy, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? Sorry, I'm late. Hi, Miles and CMF. True or false? Musk could buy Ripple. True or false? Can Elon Musk buy Ripple? Okay. Yes or no? Elon Musk can definitely afford to buy Ripple if he wanted to, but Ripple's not for sale. So, can Elon Musk buy Ripple? Yes, but Ripple is not for sale. So, no. I know these reports are not true and accurate, and they are just copying Moody's and making Trump look bad, as he's pro-crypto, just throwing few essentially hurdles in his path. Pretty much, yeah. Hello, Miles. Scott, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? How you doing, brother? Yeah, it's crazy to think who is not being prosecuted for terrible things they've done. Facts. Absolutely facts. Politicians and rich people are above the law. Let's not justify a crime committed because there is support for him. You and I both would have been sent to jail. Guys, don't forget to go to X and comment outside the live and like each other's post. You will essentially see a few CMF members have already commented. Yes, please do. If you already haven't, put a comment on this live, like this live, retweet this live. Let's grow this family. Let's grow the CMF. Thanks so much to everyone that's doing that right now. That's already tweeted, retweeted, liked, and put a comment outside the live and liked other people's comments as well. Thanks so much to everyone that's already did that. If you haven't done it, please go and do it. Shelly, thank you so much for pointing it out. You and I can pick and choose comments from anyone to satisfy yous being seen as right. That's true. Yes, we can. I will do a comment. Let's go, employees. Being able to be truthful helps our credibility. I agree, 100%. A case is a discharge, doesn't show up on your record. That's true as well. Hello, CMF. I hope that you had a good day. Sorry, I am late. Scott, good to see you. How you doing? Bro, check ALCX DeFi coin. Put a comment outside the live. I'll take a look at it for you and essentially reply back to your comments. No problem. Elon Musk is buying Ripple. No, Elon Musk is not buying Ripple. praying for the families in California. Yes, what happened in California was quite deepening. Guys, Miles is legit. Let's get behind him. Let's go, Scott. Now, New Hampshire, the newest place to be thinking about creating a Bitcoin reserve. New Hampshire, North Dakota, essentially introduces bills for a strict Bitcoin reserve. New Hampshire has become the latest U.S. states to introduce legislations for essentially a Bitcoin street reserve, signaling a continued push among lawmakers to diversify state treasuries with BTC. According to Satoshi's Action Fund CEO Dennis Porter, the New Hampshire bill was introduced by Rep. essentially Keith, a Republican who represents the 40th districts. The New Hampshire bill doesn't explicitly essentially mention Bitcoin, but instead it refers to a digital asset. Porter said that this is a sneaky way for state lawmakers to push through legislations without causing a political essentially friction. The intent is for Bitcoin, but essentially oftentimes that's not possible, depending on the state, he said. And also on the same day, legislations for strict Bitcoin reserves was also introduced in essentially North Dakota, and championed by Rep. Nathan essentially to push this bill forward. The North Dakota bill also already has 11 sponsors, and Porter said in a separate statement that in November, the Pennsylvania House of Representatives introduced its own legislations for a state-level Bitcoin reserve, modeled after a proposal from Satoshi Action Fund. And at the time, Rep. Mike Campbell called Bitcoin a hedge against inflation and other forms of economic essentially instability. Talks of a strict Bitcoin reserve have intensified since this essentially summer, when Donald Trump promised to make essentially America the crypto and Bitcoin capital of the world if he won the presidency, which he already has now. This promise is including ordering the Treasury Department to buy a huge stockpile of Bitcoin. And after Trump's won in November presidential elections, industries and advocates have been eager to see President-elect Donald Trump come through and follow on his promises inside the crypto space, which I do believe he will. Some observers, like Strike CEO Jack, essentially says that Trump could sign an executive order making BTC a reserve asset on day one if he wanted to. However, others like Galaxy Digital founder Mike Novoscott believes that a Bitcoin reserve is unlikely to materialize, and essentially bettors on Polymarket say there's only a 27% chance that Trump will establish a Bitcoin reserve in the first 100 days of him taking office, and this figure was high as 45% in November. So a lot of people are betting on the idea that Trump might not be able to create a Bitcoin reserve, and some people are betting on the idea that he can create a Bitcoin reserve. What I will say is that if he says he's going to do it, he's going to do it. If he doesn't do it, there's probably a good reason or an alternative reason of why he's not doing it. But for the time being, whatever this man is doing so far, whatever essentially he's doing behind the scenes, behind the lines, before he takes his seat January 20th, is all being positive for the crypto space. Just by this guy winning essentially the presidency race, we've already had that boost inside the crypto market space, and moving towards that January 20th target of him taking his seat, even better. Now, it's also great to see more essentially American states, US states, coming forward and creating some sort of legislations and policies but it's also great for them to mention digital assets. Now, they're saying they're only mentioning the words digital assets, not Bitcoin, so politicians don't vote against it. If there are people that are against it, essentially, it's still in politics. But I think for them to mention digital assets instead, it broadens the range. I think that's what they're mostly doing, just trying to broaden the range and not just stick to one particular asset. Now, on the topic of essentially American states expanding their range, bringing in regulations for crypto assets, moving out of the US to Germany. Germany held quite a lot of Bitcoin, which they sold off at the worst possible time. The moment Germany sold off their Bitcoins, about a week later, the markets picked up and it established movements on essentially Bitcoin, and Bitcoin reached new heights before Germany sold theirs off. Now, it seems like Germany has regretted selling off their Bitcoins because once again, they're entering inside the Bitcoin space. And they also did mention it once that they do regret it, essentially selling off their Bitcoins at the worst possible time. Now, Germany eyes Bitcoin adoption to boost digital competitiveness. So Germany went from we don't need Bitcoin and they sold all of their Bitcoins to now saying we need to get essentially competitive in Bitcoin or digital assets in general. German policymakers are looking at measures that could help them integrate Bitcoin and establish a firmer place inside the market of digital currencies. Some of these issues were the topic of debate at the blockchain roundtable held in Germany and federal parliament recently. Patrick Hansen, senior director of EU strategies and essentially policy at Circle, shared these insights, revealing that the strict approaches for Bitcoin adoption were outlined in Germany. Christian Lindner, Germany's former finance minister, proposed 3 essentially critical strategies to integrate Bitcoin into their country's financial frameworks. He emphasized issuing the German government essentially He emphasized issuing the German government's bonds on the blockchain, essentially citing increased efficiency and transparency as significant advantages. Besides these essentially benefits, adapting this approach could position Germany as a global leader in blockchain-based bond market spaces. And another proposal discussed at the roundtables involved adapting Bitcoin as a strict reserve asset. This aligns with the growing global trends where governments are exploring essential cryptocurrencies as a hedge against inflation and a store of value. Moreover, this step could elevate Germany's position inside the digital currency space while ensuring better financial resilience. And additionally, Lindner suggested that enabling Bitcoin ETFs across the European Union, this move would provide institutional and retail investors with regulated and accessible options, encouraging essentially a broader adoption of Bitcoin. And currently, the EU markets lacks essentially Bitcoin ETFs, relying essentially on, instead of the ETFs and the ETNs and commodities and ETCs, introducing ETFs could significantly enhance. Sorry about that, everyone. Apologies, everyone. The ETCs and introducing ETFs could significantly enhance liquidity accessibility inside the cryptocurrency market space. And the roundtable also comes months after Germany sold 50,000 Bitcoins confiscated during a Movie 2K piracy case, and it may be said that one of the negative large-scale sales of Bitcoins was held in July 2024, and it essentially simulated the BTC price reductions from 70,000 to 56,000 through the Bitcoin sales that were made by Germany. And this active search for working with Bitcoin signifies that Germany has no intentions of stepping out of the competition in essentially developing a digital world or digital economy. While the sale of the seized Bitcoins in 2024 has attracted some controversies, the current discussions are all about the flexible utilization of blockchain technology and cryptocurrencies, strengthening essentially their economic and financial fundamentals. So, Germany went from, they don't understand cryptocurrencies, they don't want to hold Bitcoin and selling off their Bitcoins, and essentially impacting the market space quite a lot at that particular time when they did sell off their Bitcoins in 2024, to now essentially saying that, they don't want to get left behind. Germany does not want to get left behind from this whole digital world we're about to be entering into. Essentially, because America wants to become the capital of cryptocurrencies. As I said previously, every country is going to be following them in their footsteps and trying to become some sort of a crypto capital hub, which again is amazing to see. And it all just means money, money, money for everybody that's inside the crypto space in essentially positioned in legitimate crypto assets. A lot of money is going to be entering those types of projects from the institutional space, and especially as more countries warm up to the idea of, you know, getting more involved because they don't want to get left behind from America's market space. Now, moving on essentially from Germany to Joe Biden. Sleepy Joe. Sleepy Joe takes another stab at the cryptocurrency markets, but there's only one thing he doesn't know. Now, Sleepy Joe and Biden's essentially administration of circus freaks have tried their best to stifle the cryptocurrency market space, to stifle the world, to cause as much damage as they possibly can before they leave and, you know, hand over America to Trump. And well, here is, you know, basically one more thing that they just did today. But before actually we go through that, let's consider the comment section first. As I said previously, this is a live, which means if you do have any questions, put it outside the comment section. I'm more than happy to answer any questions you may have. Let's see where we're at inside the comment section, and then we go straight into that Joe Biden news regarding crypto assets. Let's see where we're at. We were at here. Miles, what is the top percentage of XRP holders? 30,000? No, over 100,000. And my verified account is still blocked on X. Every time I share the CMF more than once, I get X blocked. Why? That's a bit odd. I don't know why, Scott. I'll be honest. That's very odd. Lol, I will purchase me a law degree online and go to court and ask the judge to dismiss the Ripple case. If it was only that simple, honestly. Miles, is it worth having a separate tangent to use just to swap and sell tokens during the peak of this bull run in case exchanges are down and we can't sell? One of the CMF members suggested this. That's actually a very intelligent idea. Whoever essentially thought of the idea of doing that, that's actually a very smart move to do. If you do want to buy a secondary tangent just to use for swaps and converting, why not? Why you want to keep your other tangent offline, and you can do that with one smartphone having two separate tangent wallets. It's actually a smart idea. Why not? Question, Miles, did you say last evening that you choose hot over MDT if you had it in your portfolios? I just wanted to be sure. Yes, hot over MDT. Congress needs to get on those crypto regulations. I agree 100%, Scott. I'm with you 100%. They definitely need to. Congress definitely needs to move the regulations a lot more quicker. And we're also going to be talking about the Congress on tonight's live as well regarding crypto assets. Miles, what you think XRP can be after case and after Trump's coming into power? The first 100 days will be very crucial, but anything's possible. Consider variable change. Now, Mike, bless you. Thank you, brother. Thanks so much. That sneeze came out of nowhere. Bless you, brother Miles. Thank you so much, Funky Brother, as well. Thank you so much, Mike. Miles, the sneeze sounds dangerous. As in I'm catching a cold? Maybe. What a joke he was today. Biden, always. Miles, has JP Morgan and Ripple some sort of partnerships? Is there a partnership between JP Morgan and Ripple? There's indirect partnership. There's definitely indirect partnership between JP Morgan and Ripple, but there's been talks between them is what I can say directly. But indirectly, yes. Directly, there's been no conversations between them. Why is Biden doing these things? Why is Biden trying to ruin America before they hand it over to Trump? I mean, it's because they're not here to, I mean, Biden and Biden's administration and everybody that Biden chose for any role was a complete joke, to be fairly honest. So that's what happens when you have somebody that can't run a country. I'm registered Democrat. I'm more a conservative and centrist. I believe Joe Biden to be one of the two worst presidents the US has had. I agree 100%. 100% I agree. That was my idea, Miles. You're welcome. Let's go, Kerry. Great idea. That was a great idea, honestly, Kerry. Having a separate tangent for just sell-offs, having another tangent for cold storage, great idea. Now, Joe Biden. Joe Biden takes another stab at cryptocurrency market space. And this was today, Joe Biden's speech relatively to crypto assets and the people around him, you could say. But there's one thing he doesn't know. In a controversial move in the final days of President Joe Biden's administration, The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the CFPB, has proposed a rule that could hold cryptocurrency wallet developers like MetaMask and Phantom liable for fraud or faulty transactions. What an idiot. Honestly, Biden's administration are, I genuinely do think sometimes that they do 100% share one brain cell together. They must do. Honestly, Biden's administration must share one brain cell together. Why are they, first of all, getting the SFPB involved? And second of all, why are they telling the CFPB to essentially make MetaMask or Phantom or any sort of DeFi wallet liable if anybody gets essentially, if any fraud situations happens? Why are they liable? For example, but the proposal is expected to face significant opposition. Of course it is. And be dropped when Donald Trump takes office later this month. Because anything, and I mean anything stupid Biden has done over the years or is planning on doing before he leaves office in a few days, it's going to be overthrown by Trump. So why even bother introducing ridiculous regulations that are only going to be lasting a few days? But the proposal is expected to face significant opposition. And the CFPB announced essentially on Friday that it has proposed essentially a rule that aims to regulate digital asset wallets as financial institutions under the Electronic Funds Transfer Act. If intact, the rule would give the agency the authority to hold wallet providers liable for unauthorized or fraudulent transactions. Just to point it out, this is also very similar to what Gary Gensler was doing. For example, Gary Gensler was essentially having the power of calling everything a security and suing it to the ground regarding crypto assets. And then essentially the CFTC had the same power to call everything commodities, so they can sue it. And now they're giving the exact same power to the CFPB, essentially the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the power to essentially call everything under their essentially act of the regulate digital asset wallets as financial institutions under the Electronic Funds Transfer Act, which intact the rule would give the agency, the CFPB, the authority to hold wallet providers liable for unauthorized or fraudulent transactions. So first they went after crypto projects, then they went after crypto exchanges, and now they're going after the DeFi space. Just counting, genuinely counting the days Biden leaves and takes everybody useless with him, and they never return. If I could, honestly, and I was in charge in America for handing out passports, I would revoke Biden's passport, revoke anybody associated with Biden. I'll revoke all their passports and kick them out. But unfortunately, I don't have that job. When people pay for family expenses using new forms of digital payments, they must be confident that their transactions are not tainted by harmful oversights or errors. The CFPB director, Roti Chopra, said in a statement, the Bureau, which was originally established to protect consumers after the 2008 financial crisis, opened the rule to 2 months of people, essentially of the public comments. But many believe the proposal is unlikely to gain any sort of traction under the incoming administration. There's no way in hell Trump is going to say yes to this stupid idea Biden's administration has cooked up. This is likely on the holding a hammer manufacturer, whom in many cases gives away hammers for free, is liable for the misuse of the hammer, which is pretty much how it's put. You can't sue MetaMask or Trust Wallet or Zaman Wallet for anybody that abuses their wallets or gets abused. It's got nothing to do. And it was a great statement they made here. It's like having a company that creates hammers. Imagine having a hammer manufacturer and you're giving out free samples of hammers, and people go around and use those hammers to, cause some sort of harm. That's not your fault. Somebody did that with the hammers you were giving out free samples. So, this was said also by Joey Kring, a partner at the Peter and Theros Foundation Fund, likening to the move, holding a hammer manufacturer liable for misuse. Many inside the crypto space see the move as a part of a broader agenda to essentially tie to Senator Elizabeth Warren, a staunch critic of digital assets. Warren, who first proposed the creation of this CFPB in 2007, is considered one of the crypto industry's opponents. And also Chopra, the director of this whole thing campaign, a longtime Warren ally, was nominated as the CFPB director by President Biden in 2020. Her proposed essentially to rein the crypto wallet providers is seen by some sort of Warren's influence over the agency. Senator Elizabeth Warren is still trying to stifle cryptocurrencies. She did it through Gary Gensler, she did it through the FDIC chairman, and now she wants to do it through the CFPB. Despite the uproar, industry leaders remain skeptical on the rule's longevity. A 2020 essentially Supreme Court decision allows the president to fire the director of the CFPB without cause, and the incoming Trump administration is expected to take a pro-crypto stance. Trump has also essentially proposed a rule are likely to be short-lived, as Republicans have historically criticized the CFPB existence. The Trump administration has already signaled its intentions to support digital assets, a stark contrast to Biden's administration of more cautious approach to the sector. The CFPB is deciding to go after crypto wallets, all crypto wallets, and trying to call them liable for the scammers that are using crypto wallets to scam other people. But by the looks of it, the Trump administration coming into power soon is going to be firing and most likely getting rid of the CFPB department that was created by Elizabeth Warren. This has Senator Elizabeth Warren's name written all over it. She used Gary Gensler to sue crypto. She used the FDIC chairman to stifle banks from working with crypto. And now she's using her best friend in the CFPB to go after crypto wallets. At one point, she really does have to give up. Now, moving on, essentially from Elizabeth Warren once again trying to stifle the crypto space any way possible. China is what we're going to talk about next. So let's bring some positivity. And it's strange putting the word positive and China together, but China is planning on building a massive blockchain-based data center. China slowly is tiptoeing back inside the blockchain space because they also don't want to get left behind from digital space. Now, they also talked about having regulations in China very soon that was discussed in the courts matter on crypto assets. But here it is. China plans to build a blockchain-based data system. China's government has issued essentially today that a new directive to develop a blockchain-based national data infrastructure. A National Development and Reform Commission, essentially NDRC, together with two bodies, launched essentially the document with essentially will enhance the data exchange and management systems through blockchain and Chinese data centers. According to the guidelines titled National Data Infrastructure Construction Guidelines, blockchain technology will be a new exploration to achieve security in blockchain systems through the use of smart contracts. The target is, besides keeping other goals, to protect essentially authentic data of critical concerns like securities. The government said this new system would be ready by 2029, with points like the top-level designs to be completed by 2026. The guidelines also mention that blockchain will be used to reduce tampering with data and other security issues as well. And the paper analyzes blockchains as a suggested tool for the preservation of the security of data storage and the building of public trust in blockchain technology. The guidelines also pinpointed that blockchain technology is vital essentially in the completion of data circulations and security tasks, and that the government will focus on securing and developing a system of data circulations that can be trusted, hence bringing essentially about a secure environment where data thieves cannot thrive, and through the implementation of blockchain international data infrastructure. China has yet not mentioned which blockchain project they're going to be using, or they're going to be building it from scratch, or somewhere down the line a partnership. The system will allow the government, industries, and businesses to share data in a safe manner. The blockchain will ensure that once the data is put, it cannot be altered in any sort of a way, and this will help people to trust the data, and China will integrate the hardware, software, and technology required to make the system work. Even though China banned cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin in 2021, they are still very interested in using blockchain technology. In 2022, China's essentially Cyberspace Administration, CAC, started a program to focus on blockchain research. China is also essentially using blockchain for international projects. For example, the country started a big blockchain platform as a part of its Belt and essentially Road initiatives, which helps it connect countries through essentially technology. So Once again, China has decided to slowly tiptoe back inside the blockchain space, starting with a massive data center, a blockchain data center. They haven't mentioned which blockchain project they've chosen as a backbone, or if they're going to be creating one from scratch, but I'll definitely keep people updated because China is the second largest market space in the entire world. And if China decides to choose one particular blockchain project for all of their data storage, it's a big deal. But once they do reveal it, I'll definitely let everybody know on this live as soon as possible once they let out that information. Now, moving on essentially from China joining the, tiptoeing back inside the blockchain space some way or another because, they don't want to get left behind from the American market space. Let's talk about the US again. So moving on from China and going back to the US. But before actually we go for the US news, let's go inside the comment section first. As I said previously, this is a live, which means if you do have any questions, put it down inside the comment section. More than happy to answer the questions you may have. So let's go inside the comment section first, and then we go straight into the next news, which is US related, market related, and data related. Now, let's see where we were at inside the comment section. We were at here. Only 9 days left until essentially Biden exits. Excellent, honestly, excellent. Even Miles and CMF, good to see you as well. Pierce, how you doing? How you been? Happy Friday, Miles and CMF. Hope all is well. Ray, good to see you as well, brother. How you doing? How you been? Even Miles and CMF, Pierce, let's go. Are JP Morgan and Ripple in some partnership? Indirectly, yes. Directly, no. But they've had conversations before. They share partnerships. The list of partnerships, in other words. Hi, Miles and CMF family. Peg, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been, Peg? Curious, Miles. If the UK beats EU, other up like the Dems and Republicans do instead of working together to help the country. If the UK beats EA, Semper, elaborate. Just elaborate on your comments. Is it truth that if XRP becomes global and used by the banks, it can't be cheap, and why? Yes, it is true. If XRP is being used by the banking system and it's global, XRP cannot be cheap because it makes no sense. First of all, it's not just my opinion. It's the opinions of essentially a perspective on the matter from the CTO essentially of Ripple. The CTO of Ripple, David Schwartz, has mentioned multiple times in the past and recently that essentially XRP cannot be cheap, that XRP has to be above a certain price point to function correctly. He even made a statement about this matter where he said if somebody wants to send 1 million XRP, it doesn't make sense for XRP to be sitting at $1, is what David Schwartz said. David Schwartz said, if someone wants to send $1 million worth of XRP, it doesn't make sense if XRP is $1, then that means that they need 1 million XRP, 1 million XRP to make the transfer happen, because XRP is playing the medium-man role. So they said instead, if XRP was 1 million, then essentially you need 1 XRP to make the transfer happen, which makes a lot more sense because if you think about it, the amount of transactions that will be happening worldwide every second, XRP can't be cheap because it has to match price points. So that is why he's mentioning this. So can XRP be cheap? No, it's just not possible for it to be cheap in any sort of a way. And again, it's not just my opinion. This is a perspective from the man who created pretty much the XRP ledger. The Democrats and Republicans beat each other up instead of working together to better the country. I agree 100%. Oh, is that what you're saying? As in the UK comes together and works together and so on? That's never going to happen. The Democrats and Republicans beat each other up instead of working together to better the country. Yes, that's just what happens. They've always got to be against each other. But deep down, they all sit at the same dinner table. Now, US enforcement chief behind CFTC crypto cases has exited before Trump arrives. The man that was in charge of suing crypto projects through the CFTC, he is resigning before Trump comes. This is all great news for the crypto space, honestly. Ian, the enforcement director at the Commodities Futures Trading Commission, CFTC, is stepping down days before President-elect Donald Trump takes his seat. The enforcement director, Ian, is leaving the Commodities Futures Trading Commission in a week, ending a relatively short tenure and essentially some saw high-profile crypto cases. He arrived in the agency February 2023, a month before the CFTC sued Binance, and then the CEO essentially CZ for violating US commodities laws. During his tenure, he also oversaw the conclusion of the enforcement works against the collapsed global essentially platform FTX, which he categorized as the largest recovery of the dollars for victims in CFTC history. The agency has since essentially pursued actions against KuCoin and Falcon Labs, among other projects as well. In 2023 speech, Ian addressed the agency's special focus on digital assets, saying essentially that the CFTC has risen to the challenges in a remarkable fashion. In a statement essentially announcing his January 17th departure, establishing the CFTC as a premier law enforcement agency for essentially digital assets, it was listed first among the priorities of his tenure. The CFTC, essentially cousin agency, the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, usually gets more attention and industry criticism along the way for its crypto enforcement works. Through both have essentially pursued dozens of major cases, and Ian's departure opens a path for Republicans to redirect the agency's enforcement work when a Trump appointee takes over the chairmanship. Trump's transition crew has reportedly eyed a long list of potential CFTC chiefs, but hasn't pulled the trigger as quickly, essentially, as it did on the marquee opening atop of the Securities and Exchange Commission. However, if the crypto legislation makes headways in 2025, the CFTC could overtake the SEC as the dominant, essentially, agency overseeing the U.S. digital asset market space. And sitting Republican commissioners Caroline Palm and Summer have been touted as a potential candidates for almost open chairmanships, alongside former Commissioner Brian Kurtz, currently head of policies at 16Z Crypto. So, not only is the CFTC leaving, but also the man in charge inside the CFTC for suing crypto projects, he's also leaving as well. We are definitely going to be seeing a massive shift of pro-crypto politicians, pro-crypto, essentially CFTC, a pro-crypto SEC. These are things we've never seen in the past before. So if we see all these things happening, it's going to be incredible for the crypto space. If you are, as honestly, this is why I say, if you're a legitimate crypto assets like XRP, XLM, XDC, HBAR, AVAX, Bitcoin, obviously, Ethereum, and so on. If you're legitimate crypto assets, you have the biggest future ahead of yourself, because one by one, all the negative crypto people inside of the politics world is jumping ship one by one. Anybody that was anti-crypto as a politician or a chairman or a commissioner is jumping ship before Trump comes in. And everybody who jumps ship, who's anti-crypto, is going to get replaced by somebody that's pro-crypto in their positions. So honestly, the way the world is going to be shifting this year inside the digital space, it's going to be crazy. Honestly crazy. So it's also good to see that this man left by himself, that Trump really didn't have to go for the effort of kicking him out. He's going to kick himself out. Now, on the topic of essentially regulations and essentially crypto projects going to be doing quite well on the regulations moving forward, the Senate Banking Committee is what we're going to talk about next. But before we talk about the Senate Banking Committee and essentially announcing their first ever cryptocurrency subcommittee report is what we're going to go through next. Let's go inside the comment section first. As I said previously, this is a live, which means if you do have any questions, put it down inside the comment section. I'm more than happy to answer the questions you may have. So let's see where we're at. We were at here. The Democrats and Republicans beat each other up instead of working together to better the country. I agree 100%. I'm so sick of influencers talking about market cap. Can you explain for the new people to why market cap doesn't matter with utility coins like XRP, like the bank's transactions won't show on, etc.? Yes. So regarding market cap, as I said previously, market cap is not just about when it comes to XRP. It's relatable to a multitude of crypto assets. Market cap in general is a terrible metric unit when it comes to crypto assets that have utility purposes. XRP in this case has tremendous utility purposes inside the banking field, inside the financial space. It's very difficult for the banking world to essentially, be sharing all of that data, you could say, even because they're going to be doing some transactions, even though it's the same token, XRP is one token, but the banking system is also going to be having some sort of a private ledger as well. but the open market always sets the price. So whatever the price of XRP is on the private ledger is going to be the same price on the public ledger, because otherwise you could buy it through the public ledger and sell it through the private ledger, as an arbitrary situation, which is also illegal. But then also it would, the open market would again balance itself and set the price right. So in general, market cap is a terrible metric unit for when it comes to crypto assets, because crypto assets have utility purposes, something that market cap cannot cover in any sort of a way. So when people always talk about market cap, it's a stupid metric unit. Honestly, the most simplest way I could say it. Market cap makes sense when it comes to stocks, because stocks have no utility purposes, and stocks is just buy sell. Crypto assets are not just buy sell, depending on what the crypto asset is. If it's a crypto asset like XRP or XLM or XDC or essentially AVAX or any other crypto asset that has some sort of major utility purposes, market cap isn't the right way to be essentially working out their metric units, because the bank's transactions, for example, is going to be very difficult, as I said, private ledgers and so on. There's a lot of things in factor and a lot of things in play that explains why market cap is a terrible metric unit. And it's not just when it comes to XRP, it's a multitude of assets that have utility purposes. But yeah, it's the simplest way to put it. Market cap only makes sense when it comes to stocks, not crypto assets. The main purpose of crypto was utility, and utility cannot be essentially shown correctly when it comes to market cap as a metric unit. It's just not possible. It's never going to be possible. We need to have another metric unit for crypto assets, and market cap isn't it. If we're talking about stocks, sure, makes sense. Market cap makes sense when it comes to stocks, but market cap does not make sense when it comes to crypto assets due to their utility purposes. If crypto tokens had zero utility, then sure, market cap matters. But because some crypto assets have utility, market cap does not play a factor. It's a terrible metric unit. Now, CMC, not CMF, lol, yeah. I must have CMF on the brain, yeah. Miles, the research you can find. Brooke, thank you so much for the kind words. Good to see you. How you doing? Miles is the best. Thank you so much for the kind words again, Brooke. Right on with the market cap opinion. Let's go, Brooke. Miles, what chance has XDC got for being better than HBAR and XLM? Why is XDC better than HBAR and XLM? First of all, HBAR and XLM are also amazing assets, no doubt about it. Incredible assets, incredible future ahead of themselves if anybody is holding them. But XDC is also an incredible asset as well. Also being a part of R3 Core, the R3 Core is quite integrated essentially through the Bank of International Settlements, through a lot of banking systems for test purposes and test phases and so on. XDC is just an extremely underrated asset with so much potential, and it shouldn't be looked over in any sort of a way. But again, HBAR and XLM are also amazing assets as well. And if you're holding them, you have an amazing future ahead of yourself. But XDC is incredibly underrated. It's incredibly embedded because of R3 Core, so it's definitely one to look into. Can XDC have mass adoption? Can XDC have some sort of mass adoption? Yes, it can. It definitely can. And what do you think about HBAR and ADA? HBAR good, ADA good as well, no doubt about it. ADA Cardano has also introduced this new night and day feature. Essentially, they're introducing the DeFi space, which now they're partnering up with Ripple. And the founder of Cardano said that through this night and day program they created in DeFi space, that they're going to be integrating another token. That token is going to be XRP. So Ripple and essentially Cardano working together is also great news as well, which is also great news for ADA. These are exceptional assets. That's why market cap doesn't matter. Facts. Let's go, Ronnie. Philippines chose HBAR to run their digital pesos on. They haven't chosen it. It's more like it's on the test phases. They test quite a lot of tokens and infrastructures to see which one fits the best for stablecoins, which one fits the best essentially for CBDCs and so on. But at the end, everything will be connected to the XRP ledger anyways. The XRP ledger will become like Google, where everything will just connect to it. And those are the words of David Schwartz, to be fairly honest. Which country using XLM? It's not country-wise that's using XLM. It's more like the World Economic Forum is trying to use XLM for rural areas around the world. Now, XDC is going to shocking and surprise people soon after. It will be on exchanges very soon. Yes, I agree 100%. XDC is definitely going to shock people. The crypto assets that will shock people the most is going to be 1, XRP, 2, XDC, 3, XLM, 4, HBAR, 5, Cardano. These AVAX even, or TON, for example, these assets will definitely shock the entire crypto industry because a lot of people aren't focused on them, and they should be, because these are all incredible assets with incredible features, which could make an incredible future for yourself if you're holding them. But now, talking about crypto assets and essentially it being embedded into the system of the banking space, Senate Banking Committee announces first ever cryptocurrency subcommittee report. The U.S. Senate Banking Committee, led by Chairman Tim Scott, is reportedly planning to establish its first subcommittee dedicated to cryptocurrencies. This initiative essentially marks important milestone in the Senate approaches to regulating digital asset industries. Fox Business reporter Eleanor Terrett essentially shared the developments, noting that Senator Cynthia Luminis has been chosen to head the subcommittee. However, her appointment remains subject to approval and votes scheduled in the near future. According to an earlier report, the establishment of the initiative is one of Scott's first priorities as a chairman of the Senate Banking Committee. This body essentially plays a critical role in supervising the financial regulators, including the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, and the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation's FDIC. The South Carolina lawmaker plans to structure the new entities based on a similar crypto-focused subcommittee established by Patrick McHenry in 2023 under the House of Financial Services Committee. In 2024, the House passed an important essential crypto bill known as a Financial Innovation and Technologies for the 21st Century Act, FIT21. Developed by its essential crypto branch, this legislation aims to clarify the regulatory responsibilities of various agencies overseeing the crypto industry. Congressman French Hill, one of the legislation's co-authors, previously highlighted its strict consumer protections, including a prohibition essentially on the of customer funds, which he believes will prevent collapses like that of FTX. Meanwhile, essentially, French Hill will also recently essentially appointed to the new chair of the House Financial Services Committee, succeeding McHenry, and according to an internal memo issued by Scott and reviewed by Fox Business, Republican members have been selected for new divisions, including the freshman senators Bernie Minow of Ohio and Dave McCall of Pennsylvania, as well as Tim Towles of North Carolina and Bill Hagerty of Tennessee. All of these described as being strong crypto advocates, and they all have the loudest voice now inside the crypto space, inside of Congress. It remains unclear, essentially, which Democrat leaders will join the new outfit. However, Elizabeth Warren, a prominent, essentially, crypto critic, is a party's most senior member of the Senate Banking Committee. This development just comes days after Republicans officially assumed control of the Senate, solidifying their legislation majority with the President-elect Donald Trump. And also him taking his seat January 20th, the party will hold a unified control of both Congress and the White House. The formation of the subcommittee is viewed as a significant step towards fulfilling GOP's essential commitments to advancing crypto-related legislations, aligning Trump's essential promise to position the United States as a global leader inside the digital asset essential industry. So far, everybody that's been chosen for high-profile positions related to advancing the crypto space inside of America are all Republicans. Every single Republican that's been chosen for crypto seats inside of Congress are all pro-crypto, which is amazing to see, honestly. So Democrats are one by one being pushed out the way, or one by one they're leaving, all the anti-crypto people, and one by one they're being replaced by pro-crypto politicians. Incredible to see, honestly. When we, genuinely went from a time where nobody wanted to touch crypto assets to now everybody wants to be a part of it, or is trying to pass some sort of legislation, or even become a capital hub of these particular assets. Now, moving on essentially from the major milestone, honestly, from Congress to create, the subcommittee for digital assets, to Bitcoin. In terms of Bitcoin's outlook remains bullish despite the macro setbacks. A perspective coming in from Grayscale. Bitcoin's price outlook remains structurally bullish despite temporary headwinds from macroeconomic data, and Zach Pandal, Grayscale's head of research, told Cointelegraph. Today, a positive US jobs report sent BTC spot price tumbling below 93,000, which I revealed at the beginning of this live, as the US dollar rose on expectations of slower interest rates. Bitcoin seems to be held back by strength in the US dollar, which is essentially rising due to more hawkish Fed policies and the threat of tariffs, Pandal told Cointelegraph. He also added today's strong job reports reduce the chance of the Fed rate cuts. Further support of the dollar and may weigh in on the price of Bitcoin temporarily. Futures markets now gauge the probability of an interest rate cut in January, at least then 3%, according to essentially data from CME FedWatch. The US dollar index DXY rose nearly 0.5% in morning trading. However, with the US presidential integration right around the corner, this setback essentially may be short-lived, Pandal said, adding he still sees a structurally bullish outlook for crypto valuations. Donald Trump revealed in the US presidential elections that Trump has promised to appoint industry-friendly leaders to key regulatory agencies and make the US the crypto capital hub of the world when he takes office January 20th. In December, Grayscale updated his list of tokens to watch in 2025 to reflect changes, including the US election and its potential implications for the industry regulation. Meanwhile, Steno Research expects 2025 essentially to be crypto's best year ever, with BTC crushing all-time highs and unexpectedly favorable regulatory environments propels institutional adoption to unparalleled essentially levels. US Bitcoin exchange ETFs broke essentially $100 billion in net assets for the first time in November, according to data from Bloomberg Intelligence, and Senate also expects Bitcoin ETFs to see additional net inflows of $48 billion in 2025. Surging institutional inflows could cause positive demand shocks for Bitcoin, potentially sending Bitcoin's price soaring in 2025, asset manager Simon Bank said in December. Grayscale seems to think that this year we're going to be seeing exceptional amount of institutions lining up to enter the crypto space, mainly because of favorable regulatory movements. I wonder who is bringing in favorable regulations for the crypto space. Trump. Trump is the reason why Grayscale is essentially saying that we're going to be going into higher levels inside the crypto space moving forward, because we're going to have the highest amount of institutions coming in forward and spending their money, essentially buying into crypto assets and building on the blockchain sector in America's market space, which is the biggest market space around the world. A perspective coming in from Grayscale today, honestly, that, essentially we're heading towards the biggest bullish markets experience in the static crypto sector that we've ever seen before. And they said this is all going to be, coming into plan after January 20th, which is basically when Trump takes his seat. Now, the next thing we are going to be talking about on tonight's live is regarding the matters of the FDIC. The FDIC today has revealed some data, and the data is about US banks, and that US banks are currently facing $329 billion in unrealized losses. The FDIC has came out today and argued that banks are progressing with interest rates but are still far from being clear. The agency added that longer-term interest rates, particularly the 30-year mortgage and 10-year treasury rates, declined in Q3, which increased the value of securities reported by banks. The Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, the FDIC, revealed its third quarter performance results that the FDIC insured institutions faced $329 billion in unrealized losses. According to the insurance corporations, the net interest margins increased for all banks. The banking industry also reported on increasing loan yields that exceeds essentially and increases the cost of deposits for the first time since Q2 of 2023. The surge in loan yields resulted in an increase in banks' net interest margin by 7 basis points to 3.23%, which reserved essentially a Q3 trend where the industry margin fell by 14 basis points. Unrealized losses are essentially unavailable for sale, and held to maturity securities declined by $149 billion to essentially $364 billion in quarter three. The government agency revealed that long-term interest rates, in particular, essentially the 30-year mortgage and the 10-year treasury rates, declined in quarter three, which increased the value of securities reported by banks. The increase in no longer term interest rates after the end of the third quarter reduced essentially the unrealized losses to $329 billion. The banking industry's net interest income and net interest margin increased in quarter three, although their asset quality metrics deteriorated. However, they remained favorable despite continued weakness in several loan portfolios, where the FDIC said it would monitor closely. The agency revealed that the banking industry's net income was $65.4 billion in quarter three, was a decrease of $6.2 billion, 8.6 from quarter two, due to the absence of one-time gains on equity transactions and security transactions of $10 billion in the last quarter. And the banking industry also reported an increase in net interest incomes of $4.5 billion in that quarter three, that partially offset absence of these gains. In the most simplest way I could possibly put it to you is that the banking industry is struggling. In America, the banking industry is completely struggling because they didn't have the correct amount of liquidity that they wanted, mainly because the FDIC. So the FDIC is doing a report on the banking industry in America, talking about how they have a $326 billion unrealized loss situation. And at the same time, the FDIC, who did this report, was the same department that essentially stifled banks from working with blockchain companies, which could have brought a lot of money to the table, and also, brought some liquidity to the table as well, which is what they essentially wanted as a bank, liquidity. But once again, we only have the Biden administration to essentially blame for this, because the FDIC was abusing his power. The chairman of the FDIC was abusing his power, who's also resigning January 20th. The same way Gary Gensler, as the chairman of the SEC, has been abusing his power inside the crypto space as well, to be fairly honest. But all this is telling us is that the banks need to get on board inside the crypto space much more faster, because they need liquidity ASAP. It's great news for us, because that's an indication of things are going to be moving faster if there's a massive loss like that happening. Now, leading Satoshi essentially candidates $10 million Bitcoin prediction services after 16 years. So what we're going to be talking about next, moving on essentially from the banking situations to Satoshi. Satoshi Nakamoto, obviously being the creator of Bitcoin, which everybody knows of. There was one person that day two of Bitcoin being released, day two, when Bitcoin was released, this person put some sort of comments of what's going to be happening in the future. And also, here it is. A remarkable prediction by Hal Finney, one of the most prominent early Bitcoin pioneers, has resurfaced essentially after 16 years. Bitcoin's historian Pete Rizzo essentially reignited interest in the iconic prediction in the recent weeks. 16 years ago, Hal Finney had forecasted a future Bitcoin price of $10 million. 16 years ago, the second person possibly to date to have ever used the Bitcoin network, the second person who's ever used the Bitcoin network to date, 16 years ago, this man predicted that somewhere down the line, Bitcoin is going to be reaching $10 million. Now, at the time when this man made this prediction that Bitcoin somewhere down the line will make $10 million, Bitcoin was sitting at $0. This was 16 years ago. And that's when he made that prediction. So Finn's prediction dates back to January 10th, 2009, a day after Satoshi Nakamoto released version 0.1 of the Bitcoin software, and 7 days after Bitcoin's creator mined the Genesis block known as Block Zero. Hal Finney, a computer scientist, is well known for receiving the first Bitcoin transaction and tweeting about Bitcoin on January 11th, 2009. Now, Hal Finney is considered to be the leading Satoshi contender, even though he denied until his passing in 2014. Satoshi Nakamoto's true identity still remains unknown till this day. Now, Finney also is considered to be leading the Satoshi contender, and essentially Rizzo posted a screenshot of one of the Finney's emails dated back January 10th, 2009 that discussed how to value Bitcoins. One immediate problem with any new currency is how to value it, even ignoring the practical problem that virtually no one will accept it at first. Finney predicted that if Bitcoin became the world's dominant payment system, its value should be equal to the total value of all wealth in the world. Extending this logic, he arrived at $10 million per Bitcoin. Finney stated that as an amusing thought experiment, imagine that Bitcoin is successful and becomes the dominant payment system in the use essentially throughout the world. Then the total value of cryptocurrencies should be equal. The total value of the currency should be to the total essentially value of the wealth in the world. Current estimates of the total worldwide household wealth that I have found in a range from $100 trillion to $300 trillion with 20 million coins. This gives me each coin a value of $10 million. The second person to have ever used Bitcoin, and talked about receiving the first ever transaction on Bitcoin, made some predictions, bold predictions back in the day, and is still standing by it until today, to be fairly honest. But Bitcoin reaching $10 million. Can Bitcoin reach $10 million? It's not impossible, is what I would say. If Bitcoin wanted to reach $10 million with the right amount of legislations and backings and ETF flows coming in, ETF money coming in from institutions due to the regulations, and every country creating some sort of Bitcoin reserve, the sky's the limit. Anything's possible. But obviously, you should always just still be careful and not financial advice in any sort of a way. Now, JP Morgan. Moving off essentially the banking systems to JP Morgan. JP Morgan says that the EU MiCA regulations are likely to boost the euro's dominated stablecoins. Now, there has been many other people that have came out and said that MiCA is going to fail. The EU has too many strict regulations, and in reality, this is just Tether trying to spin some random stories. But JP Morgan has came out and has said basically that the EU is becoming a strong player, or is going to become a strong player inside the crypto space. So the crypto industry wanted regulations, and now they have it with the EU's MiCA regulations. You would think that this would be embraced at first glance. But no, the MiCA regulations have caused the crypto industry sleepless nights. However, they have their benefits. According to JP Morgan, the EU's MiCA regulations, which were essentially implemented on December 30th, 2024, are expected to increase the demand for euro-dominated stablecoins. Presently, euro-pegged stablecoins account for only 0.12% of the stablecoin market share. However, MiCA has the potential to grow this figure by promoting European banks and financial institutions and adoption of euro stablecoins for customers' requirements and essentially blockchain-based financial settlements. JP Morgan's analyst, led by Nicholas, wrote, under MiCA, only compliant stablecoins can be used as trading pairs of regulated markets, promoting EU exchanges to adjust their offerings. The first thing MiCA regulations did was to kick out the algorithm stablecoins. Apparently, MiCA does not regard algorithmic stablecoins as an asset and reference tokens. This is essentially because they lack explicit reserves that are associated with a conventional essentially asset. This essentially implies that the algorithmic stablecoins are essentially prohibited under the MiCA. The new regulations will necessitate that the stablecoins are recognized by the MiCA and be supported by liquid reserves of 1-to-1 ratios. The MiCA has stated that explicit objective is to safeguard the financial essentially stability and monetary sovereignty of the European markets. As a result, the regulations regarding stablecoins, particularly those that are pattern to variance essentially issuers, are quite stringent. Now, therefore, before listing or publicly offering their assets in the EU, individuals who essentially intend to use or to issue essentially EMTs and are essentially RTs must obtain authorization. The issuer also must provide authorization unless they expressly grant written essentially consent to another party to do so. Notably, MiCA does not imply on the term stablecoins, but ARTs and EMTs are regarded as stablecoins so far, and after essentially pushing and publishing a white paper and notifying their supervisory authorities, authorized credit institutions may offer a list of EMTs. EU-based arts issuers are subject to additional requirements, including the approval of the white paper publications, and more importantly, the European banking authorities may classify them as a significant base specific criteria, which would subject them to move string regulatory policies and supervision. And this is where the EU's based stablecoins will benefit. Look, if the EU essentially is going to be, in their perspective, JP Morgan says the EU is going to grow, no doubt about it. The EU market space will grow. This is excellent news for EU. Some people are going against the EU, saying why they're making things so strict. And all they're saying is basically, why is Tether not accepted? It's a good thing Tether's not accepted, in my opinion, because they're not transparent. And I don't want to use a stablecoin that's not transparent, but unfortunately, I have no choice for the time being until RLUSD gets essentially listed on major exchanges. This year, essentially, RLUSD is going to be implemented on quite a lot of exchanges as well. I believe so. This year is something going around that it's going to be listed on Binance, for example, RLUSD, and Crypto.com, if I'm not missing some of that on those lines. But it's just, speculation for the time being. It hasn't been confirmed in any sort of a way regarding Binance and so on. But on that topic, the European banking authorities, classifying the benefits of essentially MiCA regulations outweigh the negatives, in my opinion, because they're bringing money to the table. This is going to bring institutional money to the table, which is basically what we need. Now, but it is definitely also going to be boosting the EU stablecoins as well, to be fairly honest. And as I said, EU stablecoins about 0.12% of the stablecoin space. Now, moving on essentially from the EU's in terms of their regulations and policy and so on to Ripple versus the SEC. Ripple versus the SEC, judge approves sealing of key documents. So the judge essentially inside the Ripple and SEC case has decided to seal some documents away from the public eye. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? In my opinion, it's a good thing. Whatever Ripple does essentially in their meetings or closed door meetings or signs any contracts, I don't need to know. I'll be fairly honest. I don't need to know every step of the way who Ripple is signing behind closed doors or who Ripple is giving XRP to behind closed doors, because I trust Ripple as a company. Some people might disagree with me, but I personally trust Ripple as a company. I know they're trying to achieve essentially great things inside the financial sector from reading their documentations and from reading their partnership documentations as well. I know they're trying to achieve something amazing inside the blockchain sector, change the entire financial system, make things more secure, more fast, more cheaper, more reliable. And these are, what I'm expecting from Ripple, and I know they're going to be doing it. So, in the ongoing legal battle between Ripple and the SEC and the judge's request, essentially the request that was made by Brad and essentially so on, to seal some documents, it makes sense. Also, do you know why it's a good idea to seal documents? Is because some people, essentially if they didn't seal some documents and that those documents got leaked on the internet because they weren't sealed, some people might take that and try to create FUD with it that will dump the market space and so on. So, in my opinion, hide it from the retail section, because all I care about is the end result when it comes to XRP, and I know we're going to get the end result when it comes to XRP, so I couldn't care less what happens along the way. I'm more focused on the end result. Now, the courts approved the sealings of the requests from both Ripple and the SEC. This decision essentially followed the Ninth Circuit's compelling reasonings of rules, which aims to protect sensitive information while essentially balancing public access. Ripple requested to seal 8 exhibits related to their summary judgments and 56 exhibits opposing the SEC's motion, while the SEC sought to seal parts of its essential exhibits, including expert testimonies. The judge found both requests reasonable to ensure fairness as the case progresses. Ripple's success in securing this motion is a small win as the case moves to the next stage. Previously, Ripple essentially won a key ruling that XRP is not inherently a security, dealing a major blow to the SEC. However, the fight isn't over. The SEC is now preparing to essentially make its main appeals, which could impact cryptocurrency regulations in the US. Experts like former SEC lawyer Mark Fago and essentially attorney Jeremy Hugan believe the SEC's appeal will be challenging. Pro-essential crypto voices such as Paul Atkins might also push the SEC to take more flexible approaches, making this case crucial for the essentially crypto industry as a future. XRP's price rose to 1.7%, then essentially to $2.31 after Ripple's court win, but remains below $2.51 resistance levels. And analysts view this consolidation as a essentially pause before potential movements, and the performance of Bitcoin will probably affect XRP's future courses. Rumors essentially of the meeting between Donald Trump and Ripple CEO Brad also fueling speculations that the Trump pro-crypto stance could lead the Ripple case being resolved through nothing essentially is confirmed yet. The Ripple vs. SEC lawsuit has significant implications for the entire crypto industry. Ripple's earlier partial victory challenged the SEC's claims that XRP is a security, potentially setting a precedent for other cryptocurrencies. So, on that topic, essentially, of the XRP topic, regarding SEC, essentially, and Ripple, I'm actually, some people might disagree with me, but I don't mind it if Ripple wants to seal some documents away. All I care about is the end result. All I care about is the rules and regulations that's happening this year, essentially, the adoption that's going to be happening from institutions and so on. That's all I possibly could care about. But some people inside the crypto space might say, oh, why is Ripple not showing the documents and so on? Look, it's, as I said previously, look, it's better if they don't show it, because some people might use those documents to create FUD that doesn't need to be there, which is basically scaring people out of their positions. That doesn't really need to be there, to be fairly honest. But in general, January 15th coming up is going to be a very crucial deadline. We're going to get an update of what Gary Gensler is, what's the main reason why Gary Gensler is actually deciding to appeal this case. We'll have a better understanding January 15th. But for the time being, we are stuck with the circus freaks of Biden's administration and essentially Sleepy Joe. Now, on that topic, and also once again, if you are somebody that's holding XRP, I genuinely mean it, not financial advice in any sort of a way, but if you are somebody that is holding XRP, your future, in my opinion, not financial advice, in my opinion, your future is going to be incredibly amazing. The way things are setting up right now in terms of rules and regulations and so on, it's just incredible. What type of documents would they be suppressing, do you think? The type of documents that Ripple might be suppressing is probably essentially institutions that they're working with, or any others, or any type of institutions that they might have sold off XRP to behind closed doors at a much more cheaper price. These are probably things that Ripple does not want the public to see, maybe because it, some people might not understand that, but I do from a business perspective. Look, from a business perspective, I completely 100% understand why Ripple is doing certain things in this case. Why, for example, Ripple is hiding essentially some information in terms of the public eye, because it's better if they do. Because some people inside the public, no pun intended to anyone, but some people inside the retail section, misread information or try to use information for FUD to scare people out of their positions. And it's better to keep some things away from the public eye, in my opinion, when it comes to Ripple cases and so on, not when it comes to essentially our taxpaying money. I would really like to know where our taxpaying money goes to, if it's going to Zelensky's pocket or somebody else's. But when it comes to cases like Ripple, sometimes it's better to keep some information away from the retail section, because we know what the future of Ripple is going to be anyways, to be fairly honest. We know what the future is going to be for XRP. Immense is the correct answer. So it doesn't matter to keep some information away from us or not. But in my opinion, it is better if they do, because some people might use that for FUD. So it's probably going to be contracts or how much they sold or whatever behind closed doors. Let it, in my opinion, just let it stay that way is what I would say, Shelly. But good question. I'll see. Now, other questions in the comment section as well, which was, we were here. XDC is suppressing people. No, we were here. Personally think HBAR will get to $2 and $4. That's good predictions on essentially HBAR, $2 and $4. When XDC is on Biden, essentially, when XDC is on Binance, you mean? There's mentions of it happening. XRP will be a digital money. Yes, it will. It's a medium of payment, 100% T. Let's go. I think XDC is one of the best coins. XDC is incredible. What are both your thoughts and opinions in regards to Fireblocks technology as another alternative private wallet? I don't use essentially Fireblocks technology as another alternative private wallet, but I can take a look into it, Thompson, for you. Leave you a message, and I'll take a look into it. Excellent will be digital cash. Yes, so will a few other cryptocurrencies as well. Long live Algorand, HBAR, XDC, XRP, XLM, Cardano, and XRP. Let's go. Facts. Let's go, Thompson. You know what I've heard? Rate raise is going to stop alt season from happening. The rates that are rising are going to stop alt season from happening. Incorrect. Let me make one thing very clear. It's going to be extremely difficult to be able to stop essentially crypto assets with legitimate purposes doing bad under rules and regulations. Regulations will introduce regulatory clarity. And when there's essentially clarity due to regulations, it means that institutions can enter the crypto space and not be some sort of gray areas or walk on eggshells. So whatever Jerome Powell does now, or so on, whatever anybody else like Jerome Powell, Senator Elizabeth Warren does, it's not going to be affecting the crypto markets. They might affect the crypto markets for 1 or 2 days. The crypto markets will pick back up, especially for under regulations where institutions can easily buy crypto assets and hold them and not be subjugated to balance sheets in terms of liabilities. So on that matter, nothing, and I mean nothing, is going to stop legitimate crypto assets reaching their utility under rules and regulations. Not even Jerome Powell can stop it. He might be able to stifle it for a few days, but it's just genuinely going to pick up again on the rules and regulations. Nobody can stop it. Before the continuation of a bullish market, there needs to be a correction within the market space. Yes and no. Hello, Miles and CMF. Depends. If we're in a different ballgame, then things are going to be differently. But a correction is always going to be there. Manipulation is always going to be there. Turbulence is always going to be there. These are all factors to consider all the time. Hello, Miles and CMF. I've missed a lot. My apologies. Lena, good to see you as well. How you doing? Lena, also apologies from me as well, because I was supposed to call you today regarding the wallets that you're trying to learn how to do transfers. So sorry about that. I forgot to call you, Lena, or message you as well. I'll definitely do that. Apologies about that, Lena. Good evening, Miles. Richard, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? What's your thoughts on XTZ? I don't know what the recent developments to give you a better perspective on that matter. But Richard, you can put a comment outside the video if you want, and I'll take a look at it and reply back to your comment. What type of dockers would you? I've already read that one. As MC Hammer used to say, too legit to quit. So is XRP too legit to quit? Pretty much. Facts. I'm all in XDC for real. Let's go, Scott Thompson. Let's go. XDC is something special and is a sleeper. I am not an advisor. I'm a believer. Let's go, Scott. And on that topic of XRP, incredible asset, incredible future. If you haven't got it, definitely look into it. The world is moving The world is moving faster than you think, especially this year. Things are going to move very fast in terms of regulations and so on. A lot of things will be happening this year, and you don't want to be left behind. XRP, XLM, XDC, HBAR, AVAX, and so many tokens, but these ones are the main ones. Stick to them. Bright future ahead. Also, we've reached the endings of tonight's live. All good things must come to an end, and they have now. So, if you're watching this for the first time ever, this was the CMF Live. It stands for Crypto Miles Family, and my name is Miles, and I go by the persona of Crypto Miles, and I host this live Monday to Friday, 11:25 p.m. UK time onwards. If you're watching this for the first time ever, you enjoyed this live show, drop a like, drop a follow, subscribe if you already haven't, and tune in Monday to Friday. So tune in for episode 200 and essentially 40 on Monday, which is incredible. Right now, we're on episode 239. This is episode 239 right now, which is incredible. So tune in for episode 240 of the CMF Live on Monday, 11:25 p.m. UK time onwards. If you haven't already, follow me. If you watch us on YouTube, subscribe if you already haven't. Like and comment if you already haven't. If you're watching us on X, comment, share, retweet, follow me as well if you already haven't as well, and tune in every single night. But yeah, we have reached the endings of tonight's live. Good night, Miles and CMF. Thank you for a great live and all the news. Let's go, JP. See you on Monday, but at the same time as usual. No Miles, not the end. Unfortunately, it is. Thanks for an amazing live, brother Camel. Let's go. See you on Monday, same time as usual. Great show once again. Thanks, Miles. Mickey, let's go. Mickey, see you on Monday, same time as usual. Take care, Miles and CMF. Have a great weekend too. The race. See you on Monday, same time as usual as well, brother. Miles, good night, brother. God willing, I will see you Monday. Good night, CMF. Let's go, Funky brother. See you on Monday, same time as usual. Thanks, Legend, for all your insights. Much appreciated. Night and day. CMF. Shelly, thanks so much for the kind words. And see you on Monday, same time as usual as well. Miles, actually, this has been another outstanding program. Truly entertaining. Let's go, Scott. Thanks so much for the kind words, Scott. And see you on Monday, same time as usual. Good night, Miles and CMF. Thank you, Mike. See you on Monday, same time as usual as well, brother. Good night, Miles and CMF. Great live, Miles. See you tomorrow. Free and forever. See you tomorrow, same time as usual as well. Thanks, Miles. Thanks, Miles. Good night, everyone. See you on Monday. Orphan, see you on Monday, same time as usual. Have an awesome weekend, Miles. Thanks for the great live. See you Monday. Autistic, see you on Monday, same time as usual as well. Thanks, Miles. Have a great weekend. Unless XRP breaks out, we'll be begging you to go live. Lol. Good night, CMF. Stormy, let's go. See you on Monday, same time as usual as well. Take care, Miles. Zach, see you on Monday, same time as usual as well. Night all, week night all. Good weekend all. Susie, let's go. See you on Monday, same time as usual as well. No crazies tonight, Miles. First time I believe we haven't had to block anyone. That's true. It's the first time we haven't had any crazies tonight. Great job, Miles. Scott, let's go. Night, Miles and CMF. Pablo, see you tomorrow, same time as usual as well. Thanks, Miles. Good night, CMF. Ghostman, see you tomorrow. See you on Monday, same time as usual as well. Miles, do you think Biden's freaks might pull another stunt before the 20th? From these freak show people from Biden's administration, anything's possible. Thanks for another brilliant live stream again. Much appreciated. Thompson, see you Monday, same time as usual as well. Ray, see you on Monday, brother, same time as usual. Callie, good night, Miles. God bless. See you on Monday, same time as usual. Thanks, Miles. Night, everyone. Peg, let's go. See you on Monday, same time as usual. Good night, Miles. Lena, see you on Monday, same time as usual as well. Good night. I love my CMF. Have a great weekend. See you on Telegram. Scott, see you on Telegram. Much love to everyone here. Thompson, let's go. See you on Monday, same time as usual. Night. Denise, see you on Monday, same time as usual as well. I will be seeing everybody on Monday, same time as usual. Everybody have a great day or a good night, depending on where you're around the world. If you already haven't, follow, subscribe, comment, share, and retweet. If you haven't already, please go and do it. Let's grow the CMF. Let's grow the CMF to a massive family. I will see everybody on Monday, same time as usual. If you already haven't, also follow the Telegram, join the Telegram group, follow the X Communities page, Crypto Mouse Family Lounge as well, and join all of our pages. It's completely free. I'll see everybody on Monday, same time as usual. Everybody have a great day or a good night, depending on where you are around the world. Lord Biden has everyone thinking he's Snell. He's an XRP rich too. CMF, wish you all the best. Let's go chill zone. Wish you the best as well, brother. I'll see everyone on Monday, same time as usual. Everybody have a great day or a good night, depending on where you're around the world. Like, comment, share, retweet, follow. See you on Monday, everyone, for episode 240 of the CMF Live.